It's divisional weekend. Divisional
Let's
weekend.
go. More playoffs
Yeah.
football.
Yeah. I'm
Let's
out of the
go.
playoffs. I'm still in Cancun. I'm sipping. I'm doing all right. John Harbaugh's gone. It's a new regime. Yeah, man. It was a crazy ass wild card weekend though. I am 5-1 in the playoffs. The only team that disappointed me was the Eagles. So let's start it off. Let's go with CJ and see what's going on with you.
Yeah, man. I do want to pass it to Rock real quick, because
Oh,
you mentioned the
God.
Harbaugh firing, man, and it's like, we got to talk about Steeler Rock, and the Mike Tomlin firing, man. Like, how are you feeling about that? How are you? How
It
are
feels
both of you
good.
feeling about that?
sweet. Been asking for it. Didn't believe it would happen, and it happened. And it's like, what do we do now?
I know it's
Plus,
like it's like when we got tired of Pete Carroll and then he got fired, and we were like, oh, you know.
fuck.
I know you're like, where do we go now? But all right,
Real
yeah,
For
let's
real,
get to
for
it.
real.
If I could start us off this week, this one I'm probably about to shock you guys just a little bit, but I'm just gonna start it off. I'm taking the Bills this week, man, and the big reason why is the man behind the offense, the man running the machine. It is Josh Allen. Last week I picked against him, and I was mainly the reason being like because if they're forcing him to play hero ball, I'm going to take the team over the one guy, but Josh Allen is one of those guys that can do it, and he's proved it. Uh, I think one of the Broncos' keys to victory definitely is to be collapse in the pocket on Josh Allen. Don't let him extend these plays, and find receivers in broken plays. Their receivers are so limited. If you can collapse the pocket, force them to throw over the middle and cover the middle, then you'll be in a good situation, and their receivers, are going to be challenged if they're having to be pushed downfield. That's not their strong suit. Bills aren't particularly strong at wide receiver position. So hence why Josh Allen is having to put a lot of the load on his back. Broncos, I say this, and they're getting John Franklin Myers and Drake Greenlaw back this game. So, but man, I still got to rock with the Bills. They got Poyer out. Harrison is out as well. They're a standout rookie. Uh, but they do have two key pieces coming off of IR that are about to play this week, and Ed Oliver and Curtis Samuel, both expected to play. So, yeah, man, I'm gonna just stick with the Bills. I got them winning 24-21, and I think Josh Allen's gonna take it in the last drive. You want to take it from there, Rock?
Yeah, man. I mean, we're gonna disagree. My playoff record is perfectly 500 in true Steeler fashion. 3-3, um, right in the middle. But I'm taking the Broncos. I think they're going to win 21-18. One, because the Broncos are way better at stopping the run than the Jaguars ever were. And that's what was killing them. When I saw Tush Push go for 20 yards and almost a touchdown, I was like, this is disgusting. This is just gross. Um, Jaguars, we'll talk about how they lost to the Bills. I mean, it's literally they had no D tackles to stop the middle of the runs. And I felt like they did an okay enough job to contain Josh Allen on the broken passing plays. That's why they were in a good position to win for the last 2 minutes of the game. But for me, it's Denver's defense is so dominant. The only way they lose is if Denver's offense doesn't do their part. And if Bo Nix, if RJ Harvey, he's still the starting running back, I believe. If they just don't get things going in the run game and the passing game, the Bills' defense is solid enough that they can make you pay. Get you in bad positional spots if you're not converting your third downs or just stalling out like the Broncos have a lot of times this year. But I believe in that Bronco defense way more than the Bills offense can do right now. So Diggs, let's finish it up, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna also take the Broncos in this. First of all, it's not even because they're home. It's mainly, Josh Allen's gonna have to do this on his own. pretty much the whole time. Gabe Davis is also out. That's his main target. So you have Gabe Davis out. You have a banged up secondary, and you have a Denver defense that is first in red zone and third or second and third down defense. So again, that is insane. They're pretty much going to have to just obviously depend on that defense and the running game because Buffalo allowed 154 rushing yards to a pretty good Jacksonville Jaguars team, and I think Denver Broncos wise they have the rookie can have himself a game, RJ Harvey, and I just believe in that Denver mystique right now, even though Bo Nix sucks. I still think it's a lot for Josh Allen. This is the worst supporting cast he's had in years, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna go with the Broncos, man. I got him 30-21, though. I'll give the Bills some points, but yeah, 30 to
Yeah,
21. That's my score.
yeah, and I do want to say, like, as a supporting point to you guys too. You were talking about Gabe Davis being out. James Cook, however long that ankle is going to last, he's supposedly playing through an injury right now as well. So the Bills are. I'm the only reason I pick them is because I'm just expecting Josh Allen to do it again. And yeah, I mean, like, I respect your guys' pick. That's probably the pick I should have made, but I went the other way. So let's keep it going. Let's move on to the next one. All right, y'all, we're back. The second matchup we got for this week, divisional matchup. We got the absolute no love lost ever. First seed Seahawks versus the sixth seeded 49ers. Seahawks, obviously, 2 weeks ago, coming off of a win, one game played in between. And that game decided who was going to be the first seed or who was going to be the sixth. So I'm definitely glad we got that bye week. We got that rest, but I'm ready to go into it, man. There's no better way to start it off than one of the reasons why I'm picking the Seahawks is because of the jersey I got. I got the Doug Baldwin because I'm angry. I'm angry this week. This is who I wanted. I didn't want to play the Rams. Some Seahawks fans wanted the Rams right off the rip. I'm good. Got lucky against them the first time, so like let's warm up with the Niners. I want to mention some key injuries that they've had. They did get a couple players back. This week they're expected to get Ricky Pearsall back, which should help them out quite a bit. But at the same time, they acquired Trent Williams back as well. He should be playing, but man, they lose Bethune. Warner is questionable for the game, and if he goes, who knows, what capacity he could play at. But I would be more afraid if Warner plays than if he doesn't, even if he's playing kind of rush back from the injury. Warner and Eric Kendricks, that's definitely some great play rec out there, and not something I really want to deal with in particular. So, we'll see how that goes. But I feel like the 49ers are just depleted, man. They've found a great way to keep it going. And through the injuries, a lot of key players landing on IR. They've still found ways to win games. Even when Brock Purdy was out for multiple weeks, Mac Jones was finding a way. Mac and Cheese Jones, as Deegs calls him, famous nickname. But, and he'll probably get signed to a team next year, on another note, which we'll probably get to that at some point. But yeah, I got to stick with the Seahawks, man. I mean, it's the number one defense in points allowed, so the number one overall defense in the NFL, number one in pressures. They don't have anybody that stands out sack number wise, but they're going to get pressure all around. They're really going to be rotating guys in and giving a lot of different problems to sort of a struggling San Francisco O-line that is now with George Kittle landing on IR after last game. That's a fellow, I'm a Hawkeye fan, so, that's my fellow guy right there. So definitely hoping for a speedy recovery. But at the same time, they're down to Tonjes. And the Seahawks, I expect them to key in on Christian McCaffrey. So one of the keys to victory, man, is San Francisco. They're going to have to cue in. They're going to have another receiver that makes big plays. They're going to have Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings. They're going to have one of those guys step up, or they're not going to be able to move the ball. Eamon Worry doesn't have to go watch Kittle. So like we're gonna see how all that works out. But yeah, I do want to kind of pass it to you guys. I know I've kind of been rambling, but I didn't talk about the Seahawks much. But yeah, let's keep it going. I got the Seahawks winning it though, 24-21. Just bring it back to me at the end because I got some more to say. But go ahead and take it away, Deegs.
I'm just, I'm just giving you troubles, man. You can keep going. I'm just making fun of you.
No, dude, it's all good, man. Go ahead and take it away, Deegs. I want to hear what you guys got to say about this before I come back.
Yeah, Seattle 30, San Fran 17. Here's why. So again, I know CJ already mentioned Kittle. They do not have their strong safety out there. He's supposed to be out, Jair Brown. So again, you have that mixture with you went 5 for 16 on third down last week against the Philadelphia Eagles defense that has been pretty great, right? Seattle's just even better than Philadelphia on the defensive side of the football. So when looking at it, they're in Seattle. It's a rivalry game. People are loud and drunk and crazy. And when you have so many injuries, I will give props to Kyle Shanahan. You've done the most with nothing. And so, good on you. You got all the way to the divisional. And, you exceeded expectations, especially with a limited roster. I don't even think it matters, even if Fred Warner comes and plays again. I don't think they should. I think that's rushing him back. But, I don't know the status of the guy. So, overall, though, it's in Seattle, and Sam Darnold can if he can, just feed it to their running backs, Charbonnet at the goal line, obviously get Ken Walker involved. The 49ers did allow 154 rushing yards to the Eagles last week, so I'm assuming they're going to allow rushing yards this week. So 30-17, I don't think it's going to be close just because a lot of injuries. It eventually piles up. This is where the road ends for them. Brock, close it up.
Yeah, man. I got the Seahawks winning 24-14. I'm gonna give the Niners a little bit just because it's still a rivalry, and they still got Purdy, they still got McCaffrey. I 100% expect them to at least be able to do a little bit this game, maybe not completely take over like they did against the Eagles to close out that game. Sucks that they don't have George Kittle anymore because run blocking is definitely going down. Trent Williams at least back for them, and he's at least healthy for the playoffs, so that's huge for them. But it's literally just offense is Purdy, Trent Williams, and McCaffrey, and supporting cast somewhere. Um, Other than that, you guys already talked about the majority of the injuries here. One thing I want to talk: traffic's going to suck. Driving around in Seattle, it's going to suck. That's just more personal, right? Living in the great state of Washington, not being a Seahawks fan. And CJ, looks like you want to finish this one up. You did say you have a little bit more to go, so I'll
Yeah,
let you
man.
finish the rambles.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. And like a kind of key thing of this game that kind of like puts it in question for like a lot of people is Sam Darnold actually popped up with an oblique injury as questionable on the injury report. In my opinion, that's a bit of a psych out. I think they're trying to make them, maybe expect something that's not going to actually happen, but you know, that is a finable offense at the same time. So they're probably not lying about it. You probably had something pop up, but Sam is fully expected to play. That home field advantage, is probably a huge reason why we all picked him. I mean, the 12th man is going to be so loud. The 49ers have to run out there and call whatever play they're going to call. They're not going to have times for checks. It's going to be an issue. Our offensive line, you pretty much the center just has to point. That's where we're sliding. And that's pretty much how that's going. And I also want to say a key thing too. Seahawks are getting Charles Cross back, and Josh Jones filled in very nicely. Did a good, valiant job. But he went out with injury. So we were potentially in danger this week of starting a practice squad guy. Can't remember his first name, but last name Knight. But I was not excited about that. So getting Charles Cross back is huge. Kobe Bryant's returning this week, and also Tyrese Knight. Which definitely gives them some good depth at linebacker, which is something they sort of need, even though they've done well at that position. So, and the last thing I want to say is, I really respect Purdy as a quarterback, but Darnold has the past 2 years been better than Mahomes. And He's been better in wins. He's had back-to-back 14-win seasons, different teams. He's had more yards each year. Um, and he's also had a higher completion percentage. So Darnold, I know he can make some mistakes at times. I feel like definitely a key to this victory for the Seahawks is for him to limit those and let the defense give them more opportunities and try to keep them off the field. Uh, like you said, Deegs, that run game. Walker's a 1K rusher, Charbonnet 730, 12 touchdowns. Get that down to the red zone, give it to Charbonnet. Don't reinvent the wheel. So we all got the Seahawks. So sorry that drug on you guys, but this is my segment. All our teams are out besides me. So yeah, let's keep it rolling, though, gentlemen.
Okay, we got the other AFC divisional game between the Texans and the Pats. So real quick, Nico Collins supposed to be out. Um, when I'm looking at both of these teams for the Texans, CJ Stroud was terrible. He got sacked 3 times. This man had 5 fumbles, 2 of them lost. Like he was not anything. The reason that they really won this game was honestly that defense. That defense really carried him. Um, to the whole game, man. The secondary, they have a lot of camaraderie. Honestly, it's infectious, I feel like, and I'm sure that they're really enjoying themselves. I would be too if there's an all-pro corner and a bunch of guys that are probably Pro Bowls and future All Pros, So, and then you're looking at the Patriots, who had a pretty good defensive game against the Chargers, but they did struggle a little bit on the offensive side of the football. Drake May wasn't amazing, but he got it done, and they won and beat the Chargers that have endless injuries. So at the end of the day, I look at this team. I'm like, there's 2 struggling kind of QBs here from the wild card round, and there's 2 pretty similar defenses. Even though I might give it to Houston the edge there with the defense, overall, New England, you've had an easy schedule. It's not going to get any easier. The Chargers showed you that, and that's why you struggled. And it's not going to get any easier with Houston. Houston's going to go into Foxborough. They're going to beat New England 21-18. And I just believe in that defense and maybe Stroud just a little bit more, even though, he is atrocious. But yeah, Brock, go ahead.
Yeah, man. We're disagreeing. I'm taking the Pats by 1, 14-13. I think it comes down to a block PAT. As I watched that, if you can call it a game that the Texans played, um, I saw CJ Stroud look the worst I've ever seen CJ Stroud play in his career. Um, it was so bad, I had hope we would win. That's how bad he was playing. And then you looked at my team's offense, that was a flaming pile of dog shit. So that's why the Texans won. That's why they won. I think I saw Sheldon Rankins personally retire my left guard, Isaac Samalu, on that hit that made Rodgers fumble. Straight up think he retired Isaac Samalu on that. Uh, yeah, I hate the Texans and I hate the Patriots right now. I really hate the Texans because they retired about half of my team and Tomlin. And the Patriots, they're the reason why my team hasn't won more Super Bowls. So I got to go with the Pats though because recency bias is telling me to hate on the Texans more. So CJ, take it away, man.
Man, this is one of those games too. I love that we're split on this, and it comes down to this because this was my hardest matchup and I switched my pick, as soon as I could before this. Um, and actually I want to give credit, to my beautiful woman, Bree. She actually was like, well, hey, maybe you should check out that Texans injury report, right? And I actually saw Nico Collins was going to be out. I assumed he was actually going to play, for some reason. Had missed that in my notes analysis, So I originally had circled the Texans and I've crossed them out. But I do want to say, Pats are running with no digs, and I do want to say, playing devil's advocate, I love to do is the Pats against the Chargers last week. Chargers have a pretty good defense, but the Chargers gave the Pats all they could handle last week, And if the Chargers were a mini boss, for all the Mario fans out there, the Texans are the boss. This is Bowser. So, this is the Bowser of the AFC. So it's going to be an issue. So, you know, I reversed my pick. I'm going Pats 19-16. I think it's going to be a painful game that is going to be kind of drug out through field goals and a sluggish offense and a really strong defense. I think that both defenses are going to be swarming out there. Texans, have probably the fastest D line in the league. At least edge rusher wise, they've really been incredible. So the Texans' key to winning, even though I'm picking the Pats, is they definitely have to capitalize off of turnovers, potential turnovers, and the field position that they get, that their defense puts them in. You're going to have to take your points. You're not going to be able to go for it on many fourths. Texans are going to have to really drag this out and play an ugly game for them to get a victory. I think the Pats have a higher ceiling to kind of take this away and be able to run with it and put CJ Stroud, as you guys said, who struggled last game, put him in a bad situation, especially with that, a Pats defense, which is no joke. If they're in obvious passing situations, that Pats defense, they can pin their ears back and just go for it. So I got to stick Pats 19-16, and I think we're 2-1 on that. But on that note, let's just take it to the last game.
All right, guys, we got the last game of the divisional here. We got the Rams at the Bears. This one's an interesting one. I've seen the Rams almost choke it, and I see the Bears not do jack shit until the fourth quarter. So, what does this tell me? This tells me that Matthew Stafford and Nakua and Adams are going to have a great game, and the defense for the Rams is really going to be super shut down against the Bears all game up until the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Then we're finally going to see some Caleb Williams magic, and it's going to be like, wait a minute, I thought this was a 35-0 game. Why are the Bears now winning 38-35? What happened in these last 5 minutes? Some craziness like that. But I'm also a big believer of you can't keep not showing up. Like, you can't not show up for the whole game except for the last 5 minutes. Because of that, the Rams are winning this, and they're going to get ready to go take on whatever NFC West rival they got going on. I think the Rams are going to win 28-17. I've seen Caleb Williams have some crazy comebacks this year, and it's hard for me to count out the Bears, but I just don't think the way they are playing offense is sustainable enough for them to win this game this week. I just think Matthew Stafford is, he got back to MVP type form last week. I mean, he looked really good against the Panthers. Nakua was doing everything he could. Hell, even playing defense when he needed to a little bit on some of those throws. But other than that, Bears, hey, I like y'all. I think next year you guys are going to be actually solid, not rely on luck. But this year you're relying solely on luck and just, somehow coming together in the fourth quarter. I don't think you guys are going to keep continuing. CJ, take it away.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna have to agree with you, man. I got the Rams winning it in a similar sort of fashion. I got them winning it 35-31 over the Bears. Main reason being, the Rams have the best QB in the league. Like, let's not get it twisted. Matthew Stafford right now is the best quarterback in the league. I understand how people could say Drake May deserves MVP, and I totally agree with that. At the same time, Matthew Stafford, who's never won, it's his time, man. Stats are stats. He may have had 7 or so interceptions in the last 3 games, 4 games, but that doesn't deter me from picking the Rams. I think good teams win, good coach teams win. I believe in Ben Johnson and the Bears. But I got to agree with everything Rock said about the starting slow element. It's something that the Seahawks have, been a victim to over time, and it's kind of got at them, and they're kind of still in a bit of that slump, so they kind of need to figure that out. So it's like, I'm definitely thinking the Rams, a really good team, really high-powered offense. They're really dedicated to the run. They've really included not only Kyron Williams, but Blake Corum this year, who has finally found his footing in the offense. So they got two good running backs, and they will run the same play over and over and tell you to stop it. They will just beg you to stop it. Like, try to stop it, then we'll change it. And, obviously, Puka Nakua goes without being said. He's second in receiving yards, incredible season, first in receptions, first in targets. He gets targeted a lot for a reason. And Devontae Adams, they get him back, who's had 14 touchdowns on the season. And Matthew Stafford is an absolute assassin in the red zone. So if you think that doesn't make a difference, well, you don't understand why me as a Seahawks fan didn't want to play the Rams this week, and why I was rooting for the 49ers against the Eagles. So yeah, I'm sticking with the Rams this week, man. I just think they're going to pull it off. They do get a Dunze back from a foot injury, but I just think the Rams are going to put on an onslaught early on that'll put the Bears in a bad position where they can't play their game. They can't use both of their running backs. So yeah, my final score 35-31 Rams. Go ahead and finish this off, Deegs. This is the last one of this week. Let's go, man.
Yep. Last week I said that the Bears would get one, and that would be all. And I'm sticking with that fact. I'm going with the Rams. The Rams are they're going to go in there and they're going to dominate. I definitely also agree with Rock that I think the Bears will try to climb back in, as they always do in the fourth quarter. But man, if you got to rely on scoring 25 points in the fourth quarter to come back on an injured Packers team, my guy, that's a problem. And as much as this team has been fun to watch in terms of fourth quarter action, this team needs some drafting linebackers, man. You got to get some people in there. You got to get, maybe another edge. You're going to have to draft some defense, man, because you're letting teams just kind of run on you and pass on you and whatnot. So I just feel like they need some, they can definitely be better. They can definitely compete for NFC North and all that. But yeah, it's going to start with that on the offseason. So but I got the Rams 24-21. I say it's closer because I just feel like the Bears are going to have some bear magic. But at the end of the day, it's Matt Stafford. He's going to Canton for a reason. And yeah. And with all that, like and subscribe. We'll see you on Conference Championship Sunday or Conference Championship Week. Yeah, just comment. What are your guys' picks? What do you guys want to see for us next? What do you guys want in the off season, draft needs, all that. We'll be covering that eventually. Obviously, shorts coming as well. So, yeah, just talk your ish, and we'll see you next week. Y'all got
Hey,
anything else?
Break us out, man. Break us
yeah,
out, CJ.
I was about to say, yeah, talk your trash in the comments, come agree with us. But, at the end of the day, we're all just here to have a good time. So anybody that was here at any point, or you're here right now, you're here at the right time, so make sure to subscribe, because next season we got it going on. Next week we got it going on, because these playoffs ain't over. So like you said, Rock, let's end it off the only way we started it out. Hands in the middle, and we're gonna go idiots on me, idiots on three. 1, 2, 3. Idiots.
Idiots.
Let's
Hey.
go. Hey, to the championship rounds we go. See y'all next week.
Peace.